Hi everyone. I'm Felicia, Flo's daughter. I just wanted to welcome you all to her 86th birthday lunch and to thank you for coming to celebrate the restaurant, the family, the mural, Chinatown. It means a lot to my dad and my mom and my brother, who is not able to be here, but he was here last week for another award that my mom got. It means a lot to us that you are all here. So thank you very much. I think a few people are going to say, hopefully mostly nice things about you, Mom. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the young man.
Thank you very much, Felicia. So before we get started, I would love to introduce a couple of different people and call them out because related to the family, related to the project. But I'd like to thank Lenore Chinn for today. And is Council President Nikki Bass here, or did she? Okay. Wait, what's the thing? Nikki Bass. Of course, Desi Mundo. Denise Chinn. Sally Lee. And of course, I'd like the families of Flo Wong and Wong to stand up. Okay. I think it takes a village to be here. It takes a village to support us and through all our endeavors through the years, and we're just so glad to celebrate this as part of Flo's 86th birthday. All right, we're going to be coming with a few exciting speakers that are going to sort of look at Flo's life and her artistic journey. So I'd like to start it out with Diana Albright. And I'd like to sort of give a little intro to Diana. Diana dances with Tofu Goddess and just created an installation with 5,000 pom-poms symbolizing the way to live in harmony. Diana is a curator, artist, hat lover, creative instigator, and she's thrilled to be here today to celebrate Flo's 86th birthday. Diana.
Thank you all so much. I'm going to stick to what I wrote, otherwise I'll go on for 20, 30 minutes probably. But I'll start by saying what guides Flo is her heart's yearning to let the light shine for everyone. Though I officially met Flo in my 20s at the Euphrat Museum of Art at Yale's College, at one of the first AWA meetings, I actually first crossed paths with her in 3rd grade without knowing it. I grew up on the next block with the elementary school between us and often walked there across the grassy expanse to the young pine trees planted along the border fence. And I always noticed that there was one gate. It was a long suburban fence, but there was one gate. And as a kid, I was always like, wow, who is behind that one gate? And it actually even became a metaphor for me for like openings and possibilities as a little kid. But what I didn't know was that decades later I'd be receiving early morning texts with exquisite poetry describing the way the light shined through the pine trees and how the crows landed at Cumberland School. And I treasure that. I remember that AWA meeting in 1989. I was so thrilled to be there. I was honored, and I watched Flo, and I listened to her fierce activism, her love for her community. And so that was in 1989, and here we are in 2024, and there have been many, many shows and projects that Flo has been involved with, that I've worked with her, encouraged her on. I remember on her show honoring when we were celebrating her 60th birthday. So here we are, 26 years later. So there's one term that I often think of when I think of flow, and it's the term glimmer. And glimmer is not just how light bounces off of things, but it is a psychobiological term for small moments, like a moment of feeling connection, a moment of joy, a moment of seeing the way the light is shining through the trees that actually cues your central nervous system to go into calm and rest, the opposite of being triggered. So I was thinking of a couple of glimmers that I've had with flow. I remember in the 2015 Youth Rep Museum exhibit called Mooncakes, Churros, and Cherry Pie, and Flo showed a piece that involved a pan and utensils that were used in this very restaurant. What was the name of that piece?
I can't remember.
So I felt a sense of kindness, and I could feel thousands of people that had been served and fed and nourished off of those very utensils. And I've thought about that ever since. The first time I ever saw her embroidered in sequined rice sacks, I imagined tiny rivers of light moving across them, reflecting the journey of souls now fed by her act of remembrance. Flo calls out devastating impacts of hidden histories and brings light to the present through her creativity, activism, and great heart. It has been my great joy to witness and help support her journey as an artist and to know her as a dear friend. Thank you, Flo, to many, many more years, and I look forward to celebrating your 96th birthday here.
Oh, thank you, Diana. Yes, I think 10 years from now, okay, we'll be here. It's a plan, okay. Next, I'd like to bring up Mara Grimes. Mara is an art lover, educator, advocate, and artist. She's a creative problem solver, adventure, and people connector. She's got a funny story about how she met Flo, and she's honored to be here for her 86th birthday. Mara?
And I think maybe I should have written some notes now. But I'm a kind of wing it kind of girl, so I'm just going to go with flow here. Pun intended. So I met Flo, and we really realized that it was kind of a dating app kind of thing. Early dating app. I worked for Art in Action. We needed to add a new lesson to our curriculum. And Betsy Hallaby and I sat and figured out what did we want to include in this curriculum. And we said, well, we need more women in this curriculum. We need somebody of color, because these are all dead white men so far. We need somebody that's living. And it would be nice to have somebody local. And we want to use textiles, not paint. And so we literally put those things in Dr. Google, and up jumped Chloe Wong, who found she met all of those needs for us, every single one of them. So we looked at her website and we scoped her out, and she looked like the right kind of person that we wanted to include. So we called her up, and she was very formal and said, all right, come on over, but you get an hour free. After that, I'm charging you. So we, a little bit of attitude from the get-go, and said to Betsy, talk fast. We have no budget for this. Talk fast. So we drove to Sunnyvale to her studio that she had at the time, and laying out is, of course, all the sequins and the Muslim and the flags and all of her beautiful work. And we started chatting and chatting. And I'm like looking at my watch, going, talk faster, talk faster. And at a certain point, we weren't done with the conversation. We knew we weren't. But I said, I guess we have to go now. We don't have a budget for talking to you. And she's like, we should just keep continuing for free. So we did, and we've continued that conversation for a lot of years. I'm really bad with when things happen, but I know it's been a lot of years, maybe 2008, something like that. So we did. We wrote a lesson around flow, and we had a really good time getting to know each other and promoting her, and that was like the beginning of a wonderful relationship. We've done a lot of fun things since. All art related mostly, a lot of food related, a lot of late night texting and phone calls and drives, and we just had a really good time together, enjoying each other's company. And I too hope to have many more years of enjoying your company.
Thank you, Mara. Next up is Andy Wong. Andy was an arts coordinator at Rooftop K-8, a public alternative school in San Francisco, where she first encountered, quote unquote, the horse, known as Boy Wong. It's safe to say that she will be forever grateful that Ed said yes to Flo's suggestion that they attend Meditations and Integration, a musical concert by John Jang and Marcus Shelby at the African American Art and Culture Complex in San Francisco. It's been 13 years since that gratuitous lobby meeting at intermission, and the learning, love, and good karma is going strong.
Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here with everybody today. Have you ever had your life like turned upside down and changed in a moment? That's basically what happened when Flo came up to me at the intermission of a concert and said, "Are you Andy Wong?" And I looked kind of like, "Yeah." And she said, "I want to work at your school. And I want Marcus Shelby to compose the score for my art piece called Baby Jack Rice Story." And you all know that when Flo says she wants to see something happen, there's no way you're going to say no. I just said, "Oh, okay." And but the amazing thing for me was that, unbeknownst to Flo, she had created an art piece about my granduncle, Bill, who was a flying tiger. And so I was very familiar with her work, and in fact, I was teaching it at the elementary school that I worked with. So when somebody comes up to you and says they want to work at the school, for me it was like a lightning strike. And so I said yes. And we had a lot of wonderful times. Flo would come, she actually would come in and stay in San Francisco. We would go out to dinner, and I'd pick her up in the morning, and she would teach elementary school classes, art classes, from K to 8, working in the middle school, working in kindergartens. And regardless of the age, she would captivate everybody when she talked about art, because she was so kind and caring. She made art accessible to everybody, and I think that that's really the gift of Flo, is that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, your age. She wants you to cross that street and experience something new. And so I had very many great adventures because of that meeting with Flo, and one of them was we did write that musical piece, inspired by you, Ed, and your story. And I was telling everybody that I was looking through your writings, Flo, that Flo actually wrote short essays inspired by moments in Ed's life. And I was kind of whispering over there, I haven't said it to you publicly, but I do believe that you should publish those. Because I think they're really beautiful pieces. And I was charged with helping to shape that into a libretto, which then Marcus Shelby composed a full piece that we staged with a 15-piece jazz orchestra. But that wasn't the end of it. She actually said, "Okay, well, on top of that, I'm going to give your school a gallery in the Tenderloin." And she did. She arranged for us to have the Luggage Store Gallery, where we brought all 580 students to the Tenderloin. And I don't know if you know about the Tenderloin, but at that time, it was really a challenge to get people to say, yes, I would love to have my kindergartners go to the Tenderloin for a visit. But you know, again, because Flo was attached to this project, everybody believed in it, and in fact, it was life-changing. We plopped a 15-piece jazz orchestra in the street, and people danced, and people were leaning out the windows of buildings and cheering, and I feel like today's celebration across the street at the Salvation Army, it was very much in keeping with that spirit, and I feel like that's the spirit that Flo would like all of us to remember, especially as we're going into the next, 9 days of what's going to happen in our country. That we should not be afraid to cross the street, that we should embrace difference. And I feel like that is the gift that you've given all of us, Flo. So I'd like to wish you a happy birthday.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Andy. Well, one thing about my history with Flo is I am the executive director and board chair of a group called Contemporary Asian Theater Scene, otherwise known as CATS. And you know, for Flo and I think it all started with poems. It was during the pandemic, and I think I was really in need of some nurturing, some heartfelt thoughts, some visceral thoughts that really captured of how I was feeling, because you never know when there's a pandemic, it's a difficult time. So Flo started just sending me some of her beautiful poems of walking across the playground and running into some conversations with some, I think, a father and son. And it was just beautiful. And that sort of led into more conversations and getting more involved with cats. And she had the board over at her house. And so she told us about her life. And it was just so touching because she embraced all of us as we were disciples. We were open ears, open hearts, and we were just touched by her artistry. She had a nice tour of her home and all the pieces that were displayed so beautifully in her home, and home. And of course with dim sum, that's really important, the food part. And then we got to know each other a lot more. And Flo has this moments of inspiration. I think when then she reached out to Andy and myself, proposing a celebration of her 85th birthday that was around a beautiful documentary, especially centered around her life in Oakland, which was absolutely beautiful. At that same year, CATS awarded Flo the Inspirational Artist Hero Award, which only goes to certain artists who really have an impact upon the community. And we feel like in Silicon Valley, we have our heart, we have Flo. And she's been a beautiful impact upon all our lives. And the second inspiration was when she mentioned that she was interested in Tai Chi. And it was a moment where I said, well, Nelson teaches Tai Chi. I think it was just all within about 15 minutes where she mentioned it that I was able to introduce her. Because moments like this happen, like magic. It's meant to be. It comes together. So that came to a fruition of a Tai Chi inspired poetry workshop, which was a couple weeks ago, and it was absolutely beautiful. And we had people at the beautiful downtown headquarters of CATS, and we had people doing Tai Chi, and they were writing, and I think if you were there, it was a beautiful experience. So Flo, thank you so much for bringing your heart, your artistry, sharing that amongst the community, sharing it so that we can enjoy it and be inspired and learn from you. So thank you so much, and happy birthday. Our next speaker is Felicia. Felicia is, as you know, is Flo's daughter, and she lives in New York with her family and husband John and kids Ben and Sasha, who love their pawpaw very much. She runs the Roosevelt Institute, a research organization that helps make our economy more equal and more fair. Felicia?
Thanks, Leanne. So I did get on a plane 9 days before our election, which Anyway, 9 days before our election, to come across the country for my mom's birthday. And some of my friends and colleagues said, "That's a lot." And I said, "Yes, because my mother is a birthday maximalist." She believes in her own birthday, which my kids would also say. You know, my mom spent a tremendous amount of time with Ben and Sasha when they were growing up. She and my dad came up to, we lived in Oakland and we lived in San Francisco, and they came up from Sunnyvale at least twice a week to take care of them. And now when I ask Ben and Sasha, who are in college, how they remember, what they think about their grandmother, they say, "You know what? She is a very good self-advocate." So, you know, I think the grandkids do know, in fact, who you are. Leanne asked me on the car on the way up, "Wow, what was it like to grow up with a mom like Flo?" And at first I said, "Oh yeah, you know, suburban, you know, calm, lovely." That was all actually true, despite the maximalism part. We had like a very wonderful childhood behind that gate, and the gate was also always open. I always walked through that gate every morning to school. But then I did think a little bit more about your question, Leanne, and I would say 2 things about Mom. One is that I am not an artist, but Mom always had me draw or paint. And I did like it. I was not particularly great at it, but she would say it doesn't matter. All you have to do is fill your paper top to bottom, side to side. Fill the whole paper. And so while I am not a visual artist, I do like to think that one of the reasons that I have filled my life top to bottom and side to side is because she taught me how to live. And the other thing I will say about my mom, again, thinking about your question more, Leanne, and it is evident from the fact that we are sitting right here in this very restaurant where she spent so much of her childhood, where she and Nellie and Bill grew up. And Julie, where's Julie? Julie, where's Vicky? Vicky. My mom has the ability to always remember the past, and yet at the same time make sure that all of us keep our eyes firmly focused on the horizon. And that is a very unique thing, Mom. So happy birthday, birthday maximalist. It won't surprise you all that I am a total birthday minimalist. I mean, some things to do like around sometimes. Anyway, happy birthday, birthday maximalist. I'm gonna go home and bake you your birthday cake. Happy birthday, Mom.
That's beautiful, thank you. Our next speaker is Ed. Come on up, Ed. Ed moved from Georgia at age 15 and met Flo during the time that she was working at this restaurant. Flo and Ed have been married for 63 years. Congratulations. And the proud parents and grandparents of 2 kids and 3 grandchildren. Ed?
Okay, thank you all for being here on this very special day. Flo really looked forward to being here on the mural unveiling, and I'm happy you're here to share that with her. I came from Georgia and about 15 years old, and shortly thereafter I met Flo. And she was working in a restaurant here, and I lived in North Oakland. So when I would come down here for lunch, I always wanted to come to this restaurant to see Flo, but I was very, very shy. I was out of a little small town in Georgia, and Oakland was a big city, and I wasn't too sure about anything. But anyway, I would end up at the restaurant Silver Dragon and Lantern. They have the wonton and whatnot. But after I got to know Flo a little bit more, she invited me to a Thanksgiving dinner. I said, great. So it turned out the Thanksgiving dinner was to come to the restaurant on Thanksgiving Day. And so I thought it was a family dinner, but we ended up here. And we had lunch, a Thanksgiving dinner about right there. And at the time, the restaurant was still open. And Flo wasn't able to just sit and have a conversation at Thanksgiving because she got up to wait customers. So anyway, it was an unusual Thanksgiving day. But shortly thereafter, after Flo and I went to college, we married in 1961. And then we moved to Palo Alto and Sunnyvale. But she never got Oakland out of her heart. And every time we come to Oakland, she would make sure we visit Chinatown, and she would relish in some of her memories. And as we go home, she would keep talking about what things she remembered in Oakland. So now I just want to know that she has a legacy here with the mural, and I'm sure she'll have great memories of that as well. So Flo, congratulations to having this done, and happy birthday to you.
It is with great pleasure that I'd like Lenore Wong to come forward.
Thank you, all of you, for giving me the gift of time. You could have chosen to do something else today, but here you are to celebrate with me as I turn 86 tomorrow. I want to tell you a few things. Right here behind Isha and Mara is this wall, and that used to have a window, and that was our office inside. And our father, he believed in women. He believed in supporting his daughters, which was wonderful. But when it came time for him to teach the teachings of Confucius, I couldn't go in because I am female. And so when my father taught Bill, in Cantonese, the lessons of Confucius, I squatted where this pile of dishes are, and I listened. And I got my lessons about Confucius, and my dad didn't really know, he was so busy teaching Bill. And I just love being a sneak because, for females, there were certain things we couldn't do in a traditional Chinese family. And I went like, okay, I'm an American, I'll change things, I'll do it another way. And so I just I lied a lot. and I cheated, and then I would say I didn't cheat. And so what happened was that our older sister, Lai King, became a school teacher, and she was the first female in our family to go to the University of California. And my mother was not happy that her daughter was getting educated. And so as a result, Lai King stopped, and she went to work and earned her own income. And I started working in the restaurant, and I would wait on my customers, and I would say very loudly, I love children. And then my mother and father would hear that, and I said, I want to be a school teacher. I'm going to be a school teacher like King. So when it came time for me to apply to Cal, even my mother said yes. Because I didn't let her say no to me. Because she said no to me in so many other ways and things. And so I want to tell you also about this staircase right here. As you go upstairs to go to use the bathroom. On that staircase, Vicky's and Julie and Melvin's father stood there and told me about Vicky's birth. Her name is Victoria, and she was named that because of VJ Day. And so I will always remember those stairs, as I go up. And if any of you are going up to use the bathroom today, I want to tell you something. I am aware that Jack Chinn, the owner, he remodeled it for today. I've been in there and I went, the paint is new, it's wrong. And that's because not only are we having this gathering, we're going to have future gathering with Ed's family on December 23rd. My pain management program is coming on November 9th. And for those of you who don't know, I have chronic pain. There are days that when you want to talk to me, I'm lying on the couch in my house. I can't move. But because of the Kaiser program and now an online program, I learned how to move my body. And then my doctor recently said, Flo, if you don't take Tai Chi, you're gonna fall. And that's when I went to Leanne and I said, my doctor says, no pills, but Tai Chi. And then I meet Nelson. And it all fell into my lap, just the way that this project fell into my lap, because when Bill invited Nellie and me to come to Oakland for an interview, I went to my library to pull out my poetry book, and I came and I brought it and I showed it to Roy, and he goes, what's this? I said, it is a book of my drawings and poems about Oakland Chinatown. So Roy and Desi have a conversation, and they make contact with me. We would like you to collaborate with us on a mural in Oakland Chinatown. The first thing I said was, I won't climb the scaffolding. I said, do you know I'm 84, 85? I'm not going up there. And they promised me that I could look from afar. And planning with them was the most amazing thing. We were democratic. We each had a vote. And without even planning, we met with CP Mickey Bass. We pulled it off. We did a good job. And we looked at each other and we said, we never talked about what we're going to do our house. We just went round and round. And so Lisa and I talked about me being open focused, meaning for me, 2 and 2 does not equal 4. 2 and 2 equals like 9,000 or something. And that's the way I've grown my whole life. Good thing I have Ed, because he is definitely left brain, and he's taught me all the sequential ways that I don't do. And so, and that's why I need him in my life for many reasons. One, he keeps the archives of all my photographs. If so, you want anything, I don't go look in my file. I say, can you find the file of? And he gets them out. And so, what can I say except that I will teach you this Chinese saying. Lin Fu Hao Him. First bitter, then sweet. And then I'll teach you the other one that my father taught us. You will. If you give, take. If you take, give. And all of you in this room are those kind of people, or I wouldn't have invited you to lunch. So, I am thrilled that at the age of 86, I can walk around the block again. When I was diagnosed with chronic pain, I could not walk past the garden of my neighbor. I couldn't. It hurt like hell. And I went to the Kaiser to get medication and to be seen. I walked down halfway, I had to sit on the couch and I couldn't move any further. And now when I walk, I can walk 10 to 12,000 steps a day now. And so what I like about Bill so much, and I love Bill, and Nell, and I love her treatment so much, is that all three of us know how to get back up on the horse. And we're so happy. So I hope that if you forgot to get back up on the horse, I hope that you will try it out, because it's worthwhile. And then you can stick around and, bug people and all that kind of stuff. And also, please vote. I won't tell you who to vote for, but please vote. And all I can say is they're going to be giving boxes for us. So please pack several boxes to take home so you don't have to cook for the next 2 days. And I want to thank Ed, because when I checked with him about the menu from Jack, he said he would have everything, and please stay around because we're gonna have Portuguese downtown, which is just really fun. I didn't want a birthday cake, okay? I didn't want a candle, but you will want the Portuguese downtown. Yeah, and so thank you, and please be my friend forever, and if you haven't met the Truth Goddess yet, come to me, I'll provide an introduction, okay?
Thank you so much, Flo. That's absolutely beautiful. So today, thank you so much for being part of today's special celebration of Flo's 86th birthday tomorrow. Today we've shared memories and laughter inspired by Flo's boundless creativity and generosity. Flo, may you continue to light up our lives with your art and spirit. Happy birthday.
One more thing on behalf of the birthday maximalist. She would appreciate it if you feel so moved. In lieu of gifts, if you would be willing to make a donation to the Chinatown Oral History Project at the OACC, Roy's great project, Mom would be most grateful. So if you feel so moved, I'm sure the project would be happy to take the donation. Thank you. Oh, and I'm happy to collect the checks.
Thank you, Felicia. Thanks, everybody. On to the Don Todd.
Yeah, so Jack, on top, please.
Which one?
So do you say Victoria?